Hey everybody, this is Heather and Jenny with Surviving Darkness, and we are on episode 33. Yes. So, our wonderful editor, manager,
Sound man.
everything, man.
Yes, the main man.
So, maybe we should reintroduce ourselves and go back, just since we're a little more seasoned in this now, kind of talk about us a little bit more and what we're doing on here and what our podcast is. So we decided we better take his advice, I guess. So here we are.
Yes.
Anyway, I'm Jenny.
And I'm Heather.
And we are Surviving Darkness. So on this podcast, I guess we do talk about things that other people don't really talk about, and like our demonic experiences and things that we have encountered throughout our lives that have led to us wanting to do this podcast, and generational spirits, curses, things like that we have dealt with or are still dealing with. So,
and we touch on abuses, mental, physical, sexual abuse. With us, it's been more mental, I would say mental and sexual.
Mm-hmm.
But we touch on the things that people don't really want to talk about, because we feel like the way that you heal and the way that you help others is to talk about the traumatic things that you've been through.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, we touch on things that a lot of people sort of want to sweep under the rug and not bring to the forefront.
I thought something that was, I found out something, I guess you say, was, I thought it was kind of funny, but at the same time, it kind of clicked a button for me too, because I have a little one that uses my phone, so I have all my settings set to restricted on everything. So if he watches videos or whatever, he's limited on what he can watch and what he can hear, and language and stuff like that. Well, I went to play our podcast and on Spotify, and it told me that I had to change my restrictions because of the explicit nature of our podcast. And at first I laughed because I was like, explicit? And then I was like, well, I guess it is, because we do talk about sexual abuse and things like that. And so, we don't think of it as I don't think of it as like normal explicit stuff, bad language and things like that. But yeah, that's not the normal stuff that you hear about. And it can be explicit in nature. Some of the stuff the topics that we talk about.
It could trigger someone else if they're not expecting it,
Mm-hmm.
if they've gone through a traumatic experience.
Mm-hmm.
So our producer, sound man, whatever you want to call him, he has to put on each episode that, it has explicit sexual content, sexual abuse, violence,
Mm-hmm.
all of that, because we do talk about those kind of things that have happened in our lives.
Yes.
And everything that we talk about is stuff that we've experienced pretty much. Or we have people that come on and talk about their experiences. So far, we've had just family members, but there's other people that have reached out to us that now that we have some of the equipment and are able to, because they live out of state, we can reach out to them and be able to have them on the show too, but not necessarily in the same room with us. We can actually do it by phone.
Right. Yeah.
Or through the computer.
Yes. And get their experiences too, because no, they didn't go through what we went through with us, but they went through their own darkness and things that they survived too.
Right.
And so, yeah, so we do want to get other people's stories.
Right.
That's our goal,
And we have merchandise out there too. And our whole purpose, I feel like, is to get the word out about our podcast. And what we have on there is sort of a conversation opener. It says victim by force, survivor by choice.
Yeah.
And some people can question that. How are you survivor by choice? I mean, other people don't survive. Did they choose not to? But that's not how those people, I sort of still see them they're as victims if they didn't make it. We don't say they're a survivor. And it's not that they chose not to survive, but I see it as we survive every day. We make a choice every day to survive and how we're going to do it. We decide every single day whether we're going to let the enemy tear us down, whether we're going to deal with things head on, whether we're going to use alcohol, whether we're going to use drugs, whether we're going to use any other means to numb the pain. Those are choices that people make to survive. And we choose to survive by counting on God and trusting in Him and leaning on Him to get us through. So surviving is a choice that we make every day. And then you have so many people that have gone through traumatic things. They survived the traumatic event right there, but then they wind up committing suicide. They wind up drinking themselves to death. They wind up ODing. And all these things are their choices, but they're not really surviving.
Yeah.
They're basically just killing themselves every day in one form or the other. It's either going to be a quick one or a slow. So I think surviving is a choice, and that wearing that apparel opens up that conversation where they can say, what do you mean? Like, what happened?
Yeah.
How do you survive? So it's able to reach other people just by wearing a t-shirt, carrying a cup, because we have the like little tumblers too.
And I just found out that we have phone covers. I thought that was pretty cool too. Yeah,
the Surviving Darkness phone case. So to me, it's more of a getting the word out. What is Surviving Darkness? Well, it's a podcast where these two sisters have gone through traumatic events and they talk about it to try to help others realize that they're not alone and that you can survive these things.
Like, you do say like the devil or things like that is in darkness or whatever, but then a lot of things that happen also a lot of things that are associated with devil, demon, evil happen in darkness
at night.
Yes. And we've talked about that too, that we sometimes still have issues with not the dark itself, but the memories and the things that happen at night, and trigger in your mind and stuff because it was associated with nighttime and the darkness. And then we survived just that whole cloud of everything, of the darkness that was over us for so many years. And so we survived all of that too. And for us to be able to wear, like you say, wear the shirt and someone say, so, what did you survive? Or what is surviving darkness? What is that? So we, like you said, we can say, well, this is what we've gone through. And so we choose to wear this, and maybe it'll help somebody else open up, like you said.
And so many people have gone through traumatic events. I'm sure sometime in your lifetime, you either have or will go through something traumatic. And everybody's traumatic event is not the same for each person. So that opens up a door for you to be able to talk about what has happened traumatically in your life and how you're surviving also.
Which is how we've had people reach out to us or talk to us that we don't know.
Right.
We didn't know, we had one person that reached out to us telling us about his story. And then I had somebody else talk to me about growing up with a parent as an addict. And, that's something that they survived also.
Right.
They weren't always with their family. Somebody else helped raise them. And if we wouldn't have talked about the podcast, I don't know if I would have any of that stuff would have ever come up,
Right.
So, and a lot of people do have their own dark secrets, if you will, that they deal with. And we have chosen to not let the darkness hang over us anymore and still be a victim of all of that.
Right.
And allow our light to shine, I guess you'd say, and to help others realize that they don't have to stay under that dark cloud or feel like that darkness is over them, that you have a choice in talking about things or getting help or whatever to help you survive.
You're still in bondage if you feel that you're not able to talk about those things.
Mm-hmm.
It still has you.
And I wasn't until a couple of years ago, because it just wasn't something that I was comfortable enough to talk about at all. Because for so many years it was, you shouldn't talk about this, or nobody's supposed to know about this. And then there's still shame with the people who have gone through things, and it should not be like that. It's not on that person.
The shame and the guilt that you carry, and it's taken us quite a few years to realize it's not our shame and guilt to carry.
Mm-mm. No.
So us keeping quiet was sort of like us still wallowing in that shame and guilt.
Yes.
And years ago, when I first became an ordained minister, like my trial sermon was freedom in releasing. And I wouldn't have thought, like 13 years later or 14 years later, that would be a reminder to me that there is freedom in releasing. There's freedom in talking about the things that you've gone through. There's freedom in just putting it out there and talking to others about the things that they've gone through.
Mm-hmm.
It is a freedom from that bondage that we lived in for years. Don't say nothing. People won't believe you. People don't believe in demonic stuff. You'll wind up in a psych ward if you go telling anybody anything like that. You've tried to get help. It didn't happen with the sexual abuse and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like, just don't say nothing. And then being treated or ostracized because you tried to get help and it was turned around that you were lying, although you weren't.
Mm-hmm.
So all of that is a bondage.
Yes.
So there is freedom in letting things out, talking about those things and not letting it keep you feeling shameful and dirty.
Right. That's exactly right. Yes. And that's why we have on the back survivor by choice. We are choosing to talk about this and no longer be that victim. We were victims, but we're no longer going to let that happen and be what controls our thoughts and our minds and our lives and everything too,
If you think about it, really, we choose every day to keep living, because we could have chosen to end it, to end the pain, to end the PTSD, to end the anxiety, to end the depression. We could have chosen any day to just end it all.
Mm-hmm.
But we have chosen to survive. We're not going to let that take us out.
Right. And thank goodness we have God as our go-to and the thing we lean on, and that's light.
Yes. Our refuge and our strength that's our light.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And I know a lot of people have already listened to quite a few of our episodes, but this was kind of our chance to say because when we first did it, it was, we were filling things out. We'd never done a podcast. We didn't really know what to say or how to, how much we wanted to say about ourselves and everything too. And now we're 33 episodes in, and it's like, well, let's Jesse had the idea, let's reintroduce ourselves and kind of say this again. If you're, halfway through or whatever, then you know who we are and why we're doing this podcast and what it means to us, basically. And that is to help others, to help them with their battles. And, we say this a lot, we're not counselors or anything like that, but we can understand things. You can still talk to us or reach out to us to be able to, maybe we're the first person that you actually are like, you know what, maybe they can relate. maybe have held this in for so long. Maybe they, with hearing our stories, they feel like they could open up to us or somebody else.
And like I have mentioned before, which I mean, this is a reintroduction, but when we have talked to other people, it is almost like it's a bond. It's like we're a team now.
Mm-hmm.
You're on our team now. You're not fighting alone. We're not fighting alone. We're going to help you get through this. We're going to be there if you need to talk. We're not going to judge. We're going to understand because we can empathize because we've been there. Not so much sympathize, but we've got the empathy because we've been in a lot of those situations. We've had to deal with suicide. We've dealt with traumatic deaths. We have dealt with sexual abuse, mental abuse. We have dealt with demonic stuff. I mean, there's really not a whole lot that we haven't dealt with.
Mm-mm.
And we still deal with stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's a battle that doesn't ever stop.
And we still learn things, you know, seems like at least every month something new comes out or something that we have forgotten about. It comes up, or other family members talk about something that has happened, or, you know, something that they remember. And there's several of us in the family that are like, you know what, we all went through a lot. And it does come down from generations and generational curses, but we're choosing to all end this now to where it does not keep going. Yeah, exactly. And so that's helped out not just us, but other people too.
Yeah, we don't want our children, our grandchildren to suffer the things that we have suffered, and we don't want them to be abusers either.
Mm-mm, no.
So just hiding everything and hiding the ugly has allowed it to just trickle down throughout the generations. We don't even know when it started. We don't know who started what. We don't know if maybe somebody was into witchcraft, like the dark magic, I guess. I don't know a lot about witchcraft, but we don't know if there was satanic cults. We don't know what started it. We have no clue where any of it started. We just know that from generation to generation to generation for however long it's been going on, and it's stopping this generation. And it's not just Jenny and I that are putting our foot down on this. It's other family members too that have had stuff happen or know of stuff that's happened and like, no
or
more.
Have even done things themselves to others, and they're
being held accountable.
Yes. And they're like, at no point do I condone what I did. This is what happened to me, and I thought that it was okay because I was a victim. And so I felt like, well, there was so many, or, you know, they felt like there was so much going on that it was normal for them to do the same things to other people, because you're seeing it around everywhere, that evil around everywhere. And so with being held accountable, they also got the help that they needed too, to realize that they needed to deal with what they had gone through, and that you don't do that to other people. That's not the normal.
Right.
And, you know, the things that happen in the family, and, oh, well, this person is, you know, has touched this person, or this cousin has touched this cousin, and blah, blah, blah. And all that's just normal stuff that happens. And it's not normal stuff, because not every family goes through that or does that. And so it's not normal.
Right.
And so we're very thankful too that people are realizing that, yes, they were the victim and they did things also, but they don't have to continue to live that life and do those, keep making those mistakes and things too. And so in suffering the consequences of their action, they also were able to get help that they needed to keep them from continuing that cycle also.
Right. And it's not just that. It's not just the molestation and sexual abuse and things like that people over like the past generations have gone through. We've heard people talking about their experiences with demons.
Yes.
Seeing demons, being smacked, different things by an entity that they can't even see.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not just the sexual abuse and that kind of thing that's passed down, but there's some kind of demonic presence that has attached to the family also. Mm-hmm. And I don't know that it's, in our case, that it's just one side of the family or the other. I think that, like, with our dad's side, it's almost like it's both sides of his family, mm-hmm. like his mom and his dad's.
Like the darkness was drawn to each other, like they were drawn to each other because of the darkness in there, and evil just kind of fed upon everybody, and the two families came together because of. And I do think that absolutely they're drawn to each other. Good people are drawn to good people, and bad people are drawn to bad people.
And in the demonic realm, though, they work so good together.
Mm-hmm.
Unlike Christians, I hate to say it, but they're out to kill, steal, and destroy, and they work together to get that job done. Whereas a lot of the Christians, I am a Christian, so I mean, I'm speaking from what I've seen too,
right,
are out to tear each other down instead of building each other up.
Mm-hmm.
So we work against each other when we're supposed to be helping each other. But the demonic realm, I mean, they got this.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to work together, and they're going to accomplish their goal.
Yeah.
So when you have like a demonic presence in one family and a demonic presence in the other, they're going to try to bring those together. So yeah, I mean, a lot of times it's more in the spiritual realm that things are happening, and we can't see it in the physical realm. Like, I can honestly say with my second husband, there was a lot of demonic stuff going on in that physical realm.
Mm-hmm.
And there was an attraction there, probably because of a lot of the things that I had gone through.
Mm-hmm.
It was like the traumatic stuff sort of drew me to his personality.
Mm-hmm.
And it was probably the worst mistake ever
mm-hmm.
I ever made. But I mean, I got out pretty quick.
Right.
I mean, it wasn't even 3 years that we were together that I realized this is not for me. This is not the life I'm going to live.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to live like this.
And when we are mentally in dark places ourselves and going through a lot, and you'd gone through a divorce, a couple of years before that, and then had a couple things happen after that, when you feel like you're just kind of spiraling down in darkness, then that's also when Satan knows you're weak and will send somebody in or do something to weaken you even more and weaken your resolve to fight against him. Then because he's like, I see where you are right now, and I'm going to work on that.
And the trickery and the lies that were used to get in the door.
Yes.
Like, I was a pastor's assistant, and I really want a good church home or good Christian family, and us go to church together and this, that, and the other, and put on that facade until after you're married. And then it all, boom, changed. No more going to church. Let me just act like the devil himself. I mean, a total flip.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, and I know that it was the enemy working in the first place. The enemy knew what I needed to hear, what I wanted to hear, and threw it all out there. But then we saw after the fact the lies and the manipulation and everything that was really truly what my ex operated in.
And that's what Satan does. He can make things look really, really, really good.
That's what I'm saying. They work together really good. All those demonic entities. I mean, they are really out to steal, kill, and destroy, and they don't play with that. That's what they're there for. And as long as we're keeping things in darkness, they're stealing our joy. They're killing our spirit, and they're destroying us.
Yes.
So by us speaking out and reaching out to people saying, hey, you're not the only person going through this. I mean, we can reach down in that pit and help you right on out. we can talk to you, be that source for you to lean on. That's stopping all that killing, stealing, and destroying.
And we have reached people who aren't just young victims, people who are 70 years old and have gone through things and have told us, I've just started really realizing everything I've gone through, and I've just started being able to talk about it in the past few years also. And, and then kind of saying, I'm glad that you're doing this, because it does let people know it doesn't matter how short you were a victim or how long you were a victim, what age you were when it happened. It's always there. You always have that trauma. And at some point, when you start talking about that, you do feel your strength getting more and more, and realizing that you are not the problem.
Right.
And that in order to deal with yourself and deal with the things for yourself, you do have to open up and kind of talk. And I'm not saying tell everybody about it, but even if it's just like one conversation, it doesn't even have to be very long, but you can talk and just say, you know what, I went through the same thing. Sometimes just saying that
Alone
makes it, I can't think of the word, but it is kind of freeing for one, because it's like, I'm not alone. I do have somebody that understands. And, I can say, I went through that. And just being able to get those words out, sometimes that's a huge step in itself.
And acknowledging someone else's pain.
Mm-hmm.
I understand where you're coming from.
Yes.
I get it.
Mm-hmm.
And you're justified in feeling that way.
Yeah.
You're justified in feeling the pain.
Feeling like you want to severely hurt whoever did that to you, or to a family member or whatever, someone then yeah, you are absolutely justified in that. And whatever your age, it doesn't matter. That is your strength, being able to face, acknowledge, and then also speak about it, or whether it be, write about it, however it is that you have a release, then that does help you with pushing through and dealing with things. And, as we've talked on here, we'll be talking and all of a sudden we'll be like, I don't remember that. I didn't remember that. But wait a minute, this did happen, And so anytime that you can talk to somebody about it, that helps.
We're still we're 33 episodes in, and we still have things come back to us, and we have revelations in the middle of the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
In the middle of talking, we're like, oh my goodness, I had forgot all about that.
And there have been, I know we're reintroducing ourselves, but there have been episodes, especially one or two, where we had things happen like that. And it's like, okay, I'm done. We're shut down. I cannot talk anymore about this. And we don't always have cue cards or exactly what we're going to talk about.
We never do.
No. And then when these emotions come up, or we just stop, those are our real emotions. Those are raw emotions a lot of times, because things come up that we don't remember, or we're just remembering how we felt during that time. And that's what our podcast is about, is real, being real. Even people would be like, I don't know if I believe that or not. I just don't. And that's, like we've said before, that's okay. You don't have to believe it. We're not here to try to convince you to believe it. That's not what our goal is. We're not doing paranormal investigations to make you think that, that ghosts are real. That's not what the purpose of this podcast is.
No.
Our purpose with this podcast is to just give knowledge to the things that we went through, and that what is out there and what is capable of happening. And and to just be real.
Right.
That's all that we want in this.
I can guarantee you maybe 2 out of 33 we've had sort of an outline.
Yeah.
But most of the time it's coming here. What are we going to talk about today?
Mm-hmm.
I really don't know. Let's just go ahead and get started. Whatever comes out, comes out.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I want real. We saw fake for so many years. I can't stand fake.
Right.
I want real.
Mm-hmm.
We had to fake everything, act like everything's okay, act like we like things when we didn't like things. Everything was fake behind closed doors.
And we've had people reach out and are like, I don't know if I believe in demons, God, all this other stuff. I believe that what you saw was real, or what you went through was real. But I'm not sure how I feel about that. Well, that's okay too.
Right.
I mean, if you're listening and you're not saying, oh my gosh, then that's kind of still our goal, is to educate people on the real things that are going on in this world and the real things that we went through.
And doing this, we've sort of stayed anonymous because we really didn't want any
backlash.
Well, not just that, but we didn't want people to really know where we were.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I mean, let's just be real. There's some crazy people out there. And it don't matter. There's crazy people.
Mm-hmm.
I have been stalked before, and that's not something I was interested in having done again.
Right. Yeah.
But anyway, we have been somewhat anonymous. However, those that we have told or have figured out who we are, it's helped them to understand why we were the way we were years ago. I was very reserved. I was very quiet, just very, very timid. I didn't like to make eye contact because I felt like people would speak to me and I would be obligated to speak back. And I had a wall up, a big wall. So people were able to say, oh my goodness, now I see why she was like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I would have never thought that was what was going on. Or I can't believe, I believe you, but I can't believe that happened.
Mm-hmm.
I would have never known.
Mm-hmm.
But wasn't that the goal?
Mm.
Wasn't that the goal of the enemy, is for people to never know what happened?
Mm-hmm.
To just continue doing what it was doing for years and years and years, and no one ever know what is out there.
And that's where I was. I would have never said anything to anybody had there not been other things that came up in our family about some of the things that everybody else went through. And I'm glad now that I am talking about things. It has helped me to deal with a lot of the things that we went through.
And we still deal. We're still dealing every day.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I have nightmares a lot here recently, a lot more. And it seems like anytime God drops a blessing on us, that's when the nightmares come. And that's always a confirmation for me that it was definitely a God thing, is when the nightmares follow. Or if we've talked to someone and we've helped them, then we get attacked when we're sleeping with nightmares and things like that. So it's a battle for us every day. I still deal with PTSD. I can't stand being in small spaces. If there's loudness, sometimes it just goes right through me. I have social anxiety. I have issues with, like, even going to Walmart. I do the Walmart delivery. I mean, I go to small stores where they're not a ton of people there. And it's not that I don't like people. I feel claustrophobic.
Mm-hmm.
At church, I sit on the front row. I can't tell you how many people are at church because I don't really look behind me.
Mm-hmm.
That's my way of dealing with the fact that I'm in a church of people, of a lot of people, because I become overwhelmed when I feel like there's a lot of people. And I don't see who's looking at me. I don't see who's not looking at me. I don't have to worry about it because my back is to everybody. I don't look behind me.
Mm-hmm.
So that helps.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we're sharing our experiences as we're dealing with them now. Not just how we dealt with them before, but like an everyday dealing with it, because it will be for the rest of our lives that we deal with stuff.
And you had brought up, PTSD, the fact that we all have that, and when the first time that was mentioned to me, I kind of was like, what? Because I always think of combat veterans and things like that, and the things that they have dealt with and the traumas that they have gone through. Well, no, I wasn't there when people were killed, anything like that. But at the same time, yeah, we do have PTSD. It's post-traumatic. And we went through some horribly traumatic things.
There were times we didn't know if we were going to survive. So we were in a war, but we weren't in a war against people.
No,
we were more in a war against a demonic entity that wanted to kill us.
And used people.
Yes.
To destroy us, to try to destroy us.
Right.
Mentally, physically.
And that's, I'm still standing. Yeah.
And a lot of the people that caused issues with us aren't.
That's true. What you do to people does come back to you. So, yeah, most of the people that have caused us pain and stuff are no longer. No longer, period.
No, they're not.
And it was nothing to do with us.
No.
So. But we've also, just to share a little bit more of what we do and who we are, we have had people call us about things going on within their homes. I've had people call because people were possessed and this, that, and the other. So we have gone and we have prayed things out of people's homes. We've tried praying stuff out of people, but I have found that if they don't want to let go of it and they enjoy that power that entity makes them feel that they have, it's not going to leave. It's not going to leave if it's still invited to stay in someone.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
Just not going to.
No.
And if we feel led to go pray with someone else that reaches out, then that's what we'll do. But we are Christians and we do follow what God places on us. We're not going to just foolishly put ourselves in a place to be harmed. But if we feel led by God to do something, that he's sending us on that mission, we will obey and do as God has told us to do.
And I was joking before we started recording and said, no, I'm not going to go to anybody else's house. Yeah, I'm not doing that again, and part of me doesn't want to, because you do take a chance on yourself getting hurt or something attaching, things like that. But if we trust in God and we know, like you said, that the person really does want help or they need help, whatever, and God is sending us there, then we also know that he's going to put that hedge of protection around us too, for us to help somebody, and
we'll be able to discern the situation and know what to say, what to do, because we're not operating in our flesh, we're operating in the spirit.
And as a matter of fact, we just had someone reach out 2-3 months ago about a friend of theirs, and it was like, well, you can give them our numbers and we'll pray about it and we'll decide what needs to be done. But then it was like, but I'm also not going to put myself in a bad situation. And I kind of did not have a good feeling about it. And who knows, that may still come, may still happen that we do help this person. But at the same time, with some of the things we were told, it's almost like, I don't know if they really do want help.
No.
And so far, nothing has come of that.
You can't keep those doors open.
Right.
You can't keep the lifestyle that you're living. You can't keep opening that door and leave that door open for things to come in and say you don't want them there.
Mm-hmm.
It just, it's talking out both sides of your mouth.
Yeah. Yes.
So you got to choose.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to be tormented by that, or do you want free?
Mm-hmm.
But there's lifestyle changes that have to be made
Have to be.
if you want to be free of stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And so, yeah, we are here to talk to people and to help people should they need anything, like us praying with them, helping them pray, helping them at their house, or, also that we're here for things like that too.
Right.
So I guess that's enough with us.
We're still on the fence. We've been discussing. We're still on the fence about actually coming out of being anonymous.
Yeah.
It's been one of those. It's sort of a battle. It's like being anonymous sort of helps us be more open, I think, but at the same time, being anonymous keeps us from being real.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be a real person. I want people to know that they're real people. They're just not names of people who went through something.
Mm-hmm.
We are real people
Mm-hmm.
with real testimony and real survival. So
No, we're not on an episode of of a TV show that says the names have been changed for their protection. This is us,
right.
and if we do decide to come out of anonymity, then we are exposing ourselves to whatever it is,
Right.
to people saying whatever,
and it's you want to think it's people's judgment, but I've learned a long time ago that people are going to think what they want to think anyway. It doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not so much people's judgment, it's sort of protection of others too.
Mm-hmm.
So we're still up in the air about that. Still trying to decide if we'll ever go video, if we'll just stay voice. I sort of like the fact that I don't have to fix my hair or put on makeup to do my podcast.
Right.
Otherwise, it would be a little scary.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, we don't want to be too real.
Right.
we want to have our makeup on and not in our nightgown and stuff like that if we're going to be video. So there's things you'll have to just stay tuned for and see where we go with some of these things. See if there's people that reach out that we'll share our experiences if we go and pray with people or talk to people and maybe they don't want to come on, but they're fine with us sharing their story, or we'll share those things too. So,
and we have done that. We have had people or family members or whatever say, it's okay for you to talk about this, I just can't.
Right.
And so we do still try to keep everything censored, I guess, a little bit. You know what I mean? We don't ever say names of anyone in the family unless they're on here and they want to use their name. That's fine. If they don't want to, and it's not just family members, if it's anybody and they feel like they should want to tell their story and would like to come on and talk with us too, then they can just say, I'm Jane Doe or whatever. Nobody has to know who they are. But if they feel like they need to speak out about that, then that's fine too, and they are welcome to come and talk about that. It's not just about us too.
Right.
It's anybody that is a victim and feels like they may be empowered by speaking out about it.
And what might be traumatic for you might not be that traumatic for me. So it's not even so much as, oh, wow, you really think that was traumatic? Well, I went through this. It's not even like that, because how we perceive things is different. How you might perceive one thing is totally different from how I perceive that.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm.
I mean, our traumatic is dealing with suicide, dealing with like a botched surgery that totally destroyed our dad.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we've dealt with some pretty harsh stuff, family members who have attempted suicide. All of this stuff we've dealt with, and to us it was very traumatic.
Mm-hmm.
But for someone else, it might be their parents got divorced and that was very traumatic for them.
Mm-hmm.
It could be anything.
And we're never like, oh, well, we went through this, and what you went through that's nothing compared to what we went through.
Right.
Because
yes.
like you said, everybody is different. And the degree that it takes to make you feel at your lowest may not be, I may not have to go through something as big as that to make me feel at my lowest and feel like I have no hope.
Right. So what we're pretty much saying is anything that feels traumatic to you, if you want to share or reach out or feel like you're alone in whatever it is, just, you can email us. You can find us on Facebook. We're under Surviving Darkness Podcast. And that's on Facebook. And then we have our website, which is www.survivingdarknesspodcast.com. And I got it right. Yes. 33 episodes.
I know. We finally got it. Yes.
I didn't sort of mess that one up. But on that, it has all our platforms. We're on Facebook. You can hit any of the icons for Facebook.
Spotify, Instagram.
And we're on TikTok too, aren't we? But I don't know if that one, I think we're on TikTok, but it's not.
It's very short reels right now is what it is.
And I don't know if we have the icon for that. But also we have merchandise on there too. We've had to buy some equipment, so we're just trying to reimburse a little bit for that. But and to get the word out.
Yes.
Like we said earlier, just to get the word out. Just to be able to share your story.
Yeah.
So,
and our podcast is always uploaded on Fridays at noon. That's when it comes out. We've only had one that was late. And that was because our sound man wasn't physically in the room with us and had everything set up. And we had the new equipment and didn't realize that we weren't recording.
We didn't realize our microphones went to sleep after a minute and a half of no activity.
Yes.
So we talked for an hour with no sound.
So we ended up having to record again.
So we are learning what to look at to make sure that things are actually working so that we don't have to be like, oh my goodness, what did we say that last one? And we've also talked about how drained we are after each podcast. I mean, it is mentally and emotionally draining just to keep doing this. But we will keep doing this because we know that there's more people that we can reach, more people that need to hear what all we've gone through, that you can survive any kind of darkness you've gone through. And just stay tuned because you'll probably be just as surprised as we are by some of the stuff that comes out of us on some of these podcasts.
And I did just have somebody tell me the other day that they've been listening a lot. And they said, I'd gone through a lot of things myself when I was younger, but I did not realize how relatable our stories were to each other until I've been listening and thinking about everything that I've gone through also. And theirs was not, sexual abuse like ours, but there were things that had gone on in their family. And they said, I didn't realize how relatable I was to you all until I've been listening. So that's what we're doing this for.
Right.
Maybe that helped that person.
So we'll have more guests.
Yes.
We still have other family members that have said, I will come talk about the things that I've gone through. So we definitely need to get them scheduled to come on.
And, one of them said, I feel like we need to be on here to kind of reiterate that you all, not that you're telling the truth, that they've gone through things also. And we appreciate
the validation.
The validation. Right. So, and, because it's not just us and our little immediate family that went through things. And then they saw things also from the outside that were going on with our immediate family.
Or they experienced some of they experienced more of the haunting, funny things in our home. We experienced more of the demonic, menacing things, but it would let people know that there was something there too.
Yes.
But it would just go ahead and make our cups of tea while we were waiting for the water to boil and waiting for the whistle on the teapot. And it never happened because the teapot was removed from the burner and our cups are filled with cold water.
Yeah.
So, and like somebody getting up in the middle of the night and the shower's running and there's no one in the shower.
No.
And just stealing pillows and things like that. So it let people know that there was something there.
Yes.
So they were witness to some of those things.
Yes. And for them to come on and say, yes, absolutely, there was something there. I didn't know the extent of everything, but yes, there was something there. So,
right.
Yeah. So you never know who's going to be on here or what you're going to hear or whatever.
Or eventually what you might see.
Yes.
So
yes.
We'll see. Just, I mean, any ideas, any suggestions, anything like that, just send us a message. And on our website, there's also the little envelope where you can send us an email.
Mm-hmm.
So you can message us on Facebook, friend us on Facebook, follow us on Facebook, or you can message us on our webpage.
Mm-hmm.
So we're definitely able to be talked to or easy to get a hold of.
Right. Contacted.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the word
Yeah.
I was looking for. Ooh, after 50 minutes, my brain's a little fried there.
And we do appreciate the support that we get all the time too, from the same people, from different people listening, whatever it is.
We're like 1,016 views.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that's not a big deal for a lot of people, but for us, like I've said before, we're from a little small town. And for us to be staying anonymous, that's a good number for us.
It is.
I think. And I think it would go up if we weren't anonymous, but that isn't what we're here for. We're not here for ratings or numbers and all that. We're here to reach people.
Right. Exactly. Yes.
So just stay tuned. And like I said, be as surprised as we are, because sometimes we come in here and we don't know what's going to come out. Sometimes we're chasing cheese and sometimes we're just being us.
Mm-hmm.
So, and sometimes we're being real and sometimes it's heavy and sometimes it's lighthearted. So you just don't know. We don't know.
No.
We can come in here and be cutting up and everything else before we start. And then the subject just changed the atmosphere and it's more of a somber atmosphere.
Mm-hmm.
So we really, honestly, we keep it real. We do not practice. We do not have a script. We do not have an outline. We just come in and do what's laid on our heart to do and say what we feel that needs to be said that day.
Yes.
So I guess we're going to finish up this one. So you have re-met Heather and Jenny on Surviving Darkness podcast.
Y'all have a good week.